Cyborg. They created me to retrieve data from a computer system here in the city.
It looked like just another post-apocalyptic action flick. Grit, chaos, and Jean-Claude Van Damme leading the charge. But Cyborg was born from disaster. What began as a scrapped Masters of the Universe sequel became a last-minute miracle held together by duct tape and determination. Behind the kicks and carnage was a production that nearly collapsed under its own weight. Prepare to uncover 20 secrets they tried to keep quiet about Cyborg. Shocking Secret 1. Jean-Claude Van Damme almost walked off set. Jean-Claude Van Damme's dedication to authenticity was legendary, but it almost cost Cyborg its star. During early shooting, Van Damme clashed repeatedly with the director over fight choreography and character motivations. He demanded changes to stunts he deemed unsafe or unrealistic, while the director insisted on speed and efficiency to stay on schedule. Tensions reached a boiling point during a high-risk rooftop sequence. Van Damme threatened to walk off set unless the scene was altered. Producers stepped in to negotiate, calming tempers while balancing contracts and production needs. Crew members recall the set was tense for days, with everyone waiting to see if the star would return. Despite the threats, Van Damme stayed, and his insistence on performing stunts himself elevated the film's martial arts sequences, giving them a raw, kinetic energy unmatched by stunt doubles. Van Damme nearly quit, but his stubbornness made the action scenes legendary. Shocking Secret 2. The film's budget was nearly cut in half. Cyborg faced serious financial uncertainty before shooting even began. Initially, the studio approved a sizable budget for elaborate sets, props, and action sequences. However, competing film releases and market concerns prompted executives to slash funding drastically. Directors and producers were forced to improvise, reusing sets, simplifying costumes, and scaling back special effects. Creative problem-solving became essential. Debris and rubble were recycled from previous productions, and camera angles were designed to make the environment appear larger and more threatening than it was. Crew members even lived in makeshift accommodations near the set, working long hours to stretch resources. Despite the cuts, the film retained its gritty, post-apocalyptic look, achieving the raw visual style that fans remember. The budget constraints added tension, but also fostered a sense of urgency and resourcefulness that defined the production. Necessity fueled creativity, turning budget cuts into a visual triumph. Shocking Secret 3. Real martial arts experts were injured. During filming, the fight sequences in Cyborg were deliberately authentic, with Jean-Claude Van Damme performing most stunts alongside trained martial arts experts. Despite safety protocols, accidents were inevitable. Several stunt performers suffered injuries, including sprained ankles, bruises, and even broken ribs during complex sequences. Van Damme himself sustained minor injuries, but insisted on pushing through for realism. The crew worked under high tension, with medics on standby for nearly every stunt. Some sequences had to be rewritten or reshot to accommodate safety concerns without losing the intensity of the choreography. These real risks created action sequences that felt visceral and unpredictable. The combination of raw physicality and commitment to martial arts authenticity helped the film stand out in 1980s action cinema, making every punch and kick feel dangerous, exciting, and earned. The actors' real injuries made the fight scenes electrifying and unforgettable. Shocking Secret 4. The post-apocalyptic city was built in secret. The filmmakers needed a convincing post-apocalyptic city, but no suitable location existed. To solve this, a sprawling set was constructed secretly in an abandoned industrial zone. The production team worked under tight schedules, often filming at night to avoid attracting attention. Every detail, from crumbling buildings and graffiti-covered walls to debris-strewn streets, was carefully designed to look lived-in and desolate. Crew members report that passers-by often assumed the city was abandoned, which added to the eerie authenticity of the shots. Practical lighting, smoke, and strategically placed wreckage enhanced the illusion. By building the city in secret, filmmakers maintained full creative control and avoided interference from authorities or curious neighbors. This clandestine approach allowed Cyborg to deliver a visually immersive post-apocalyptic world, critical for selling the dystopian story and highlighting the stakes of survival in a lawless environment. The secret-built city gave Cyborg its gritty, immersive dystopian feel. Shocking Secret 5. The villain's look was completely redesigned. Last minute, the antagonist, Fender Tremolo, was originally envisioned with a modest costume and minimal makeup. Weeks before filming, the studio demanded a more intimidating, visually striking villain. The art department overhauled the design, adding leather, spikes, and menacing accessories. Costume fittings, rehearsals, and even fight choreography had to be adjusted on the fly. Actors, including Van Damme, had to adapt to a new opponent whose appearance and presence were radically different from rehearsals. Despite the chaos, the last-minute redesign paid off. Fender Tremolo became a visually iconic villain, perfectly contrasting the hero's streamlined, athletic look. Crew members often remarked that the new design gave the villain a psychological edge on set, making scenes more intense and believable. Fans now remember Tremolo as one of the film's most memorable visual elements, a testament to bold creative choices made under pressure. The villain's overnight redesign made him one of the film's most unforgettable figures. Shocking Secret 6. Early scripts were darker and bloodier. Before filming began, Cyborg's early scripts were far darker than the final cut. The original drafts included graphic violence, dystopian chaos, and morally ambiguous characters that would have shocked 1980s audiences. Studios were concerned the tone was too extreme for a wide release and demanded cuts to reduce gore and make the film more marketable. Several intense fight scenes were rewritten to appear less brutal, and some plot elements involving corrupt gangs and extreme survival tactics were toned down. Cast and crew recall tension over these changes, as the story's grim intensity was central to the director's vision. While some sequences retained the edge and dystopian feel, the film ultimately became a blend of action and adventure, with only hints of its originally intended darkness. The contrast between original vision and final version created a unique hybrid that has fascinated fans for decades. The early script's darkness hints at the grittier story Cyborg could have been. Shocking Secret 7. Van Damme did his own risky motorcycle stunts. Jean-Claude Van Damme was committed to authenticity, insisting on performing his own stunts, especially the high-speed motorcycle sequences. These stunts involved tight turns, jumps, and crashes that tested the limits of both skill and safety. The production crew installed emergency cushions, planned escape routes, and stationed medics nearby. Yet every ride carried real danger. Van Damme rehearsed tirelessly, often practicing stunts multiple times under sweltering heat or pouring rain. Despite precautions, near misses and minor injuries were constant, adding stress to the set. His insistence paid off, though. The stunts appear seamless and genuinely dangerous on screen, enhancing the intensity of chase sequences. Crew members later admitted they never doubted the thrill audiences would feel because Van Damme's performances brought palpable realism. This dedication to performing his own stunts helped cement the film as a cult favorite among action and martial arts enthusiasts. Van Damme's real motorcycle stunts made the film's action pulse with danger. Shocking Secret 8. The film was shot in record-breaking heat. Cyborg's production took place during one of the hottest summers in the filming location's history. Temperatures often soared above 100 degrees, 38 degrees C, forcing the crew to work long hours in sweltering conditions. Costumes and makeup added to the discomfort, with actors enduring layers of leather, armor, and prosthetics. Crew members struggled to keep cameras, props, and sets functioning under extreme heat, which caused equipment malfunctions and occasional delays. Even simple tasks like moving set pieces or filming fight sequences became physically exhausting. Despite these challenges, the cast and crew maintained discipline and focus, delivering scenes that look effortless on screen. The heat may have made the shoot grueling, but it also contributed to the raw, sun-scorched aesthetic of the post-apocalyptic city, making the environment feel lived in and oppressive. Extreme heat tested the cast and crew, but it gave the film its scorched, dystopian atmosphere. Shocking Secret 9. A key scene was nearly censored for gore. One pivotal fight sequence in Cyborg was nearly removed entirely due to its graphic intensity. The scene involved realistic combat injuries and brutal hand-to-hand confrontations that startled early test audiences. Studio executives feared an R rating would limit the film's audience, so they considered cutting it or significantly editing the action. The director and Van Damme lobbied to keep most of the scene, arguing it was essential to showcase the stakes and martial arts authenticity. A compromise was reached. Camera angles were adjusted, blood effects were partially reduced, and quick cuts masked the most extreme moments while retaining tension. This careful balancing act preserved the intensity without losing the scene's impact. Fans today often praise the fight's realism, unaware that it nearly never appeared on screen. The fight scene survived censorship, keeping the movie's adrenaline-charged intensity intact. Shocking Secret 10. The soundtrack almost featured a famous rock band. During production, the studio initially wanted a major rock band to contribute tracks for Cyborg's soundtrack. Negotiations began with popular groups of the era, aiming to inject mainstream energy into the post-apocalyptic world. Scheduling conflicts and budget constraints prevented the collaboration, forcing the production to commission original compositions instead. Despite the change, the score became a unique blend of electronic and rock-inspired themes that perfectly complemented the film's futuristic yet gritty tone. Crew members recall that temporary tracks from the proposed band were tested during editing, but the original music outperformed expectations. This unexpected pivot gave Cyborg a distinctive sonic identity that fans remember as a signature of 1980s action cinema. The choice also allowed the score to sync perfectly with fight choreography, motorcycle stunts, and environmental sound effects, creating a more cohesive audiovisual experience. The original soundtrack replaced a rock band, becoming a defining part of the film's vibe. Shocking Secret 11. The lead actress almost quit the actress cast as Pearl Prophet, faced extreme pressure from early on. Long hours, demanding stunts, and improvised fight choreography pushed her to the brink. In one particularly dangerous scene, she had to leap from a collapsing set piece while wearing restrictive costume pieces, and the risk of injury was high. Exhaustion, heat, and intense physical demands led her to consider quitting mid-production. Producers and stunt coordinators worked to ensure her safety while accommodating her growing concerns. After a tense negotiation and schedule adjustments, she agreed to stay, performing the scene successfully. Her perseverance added realism and emotional depth to the character, who balances intelligence, resilience, and vulnerability in the post-apocalyptic chaos. Many fans credit her performance as one of the elements that elevates Cyborg beyond a standard action film, giving it an unexpected layer of character-driven storytelling amid martial arts mayhem. Her courage kept Pearl Prophet alive, both on-screen and in the story. Shocking Secret 12. Real explosions were used. Cyborg's production relied heavily on practical effects, including real explosions. Studio and crew safety protocols were strict, but these sequences still carried inherent risk. Pyrotechnic experts were hired to ensure controlled detonations, yet timing, wind, and debris posed constant threats. Actors, including Van Damme, often had to act within feet of exploding props. Rehearsals were conducted meticulously, but accidents were narrowly avoided. Using real explosions gave the film a visceral energy unmatched by digital effects of the era. Smoke, debris, and sudden bursts of fire added intensity to chase and fight sequences. These stunts also enhanced audience immersion, making the post-apocalyptic environment feel unpredictable and dangerous. Crew members later noted that the real explosions contributed to on-set tension, which translated into more authentic performances. The commitment to practical effects defined Cyborg's kinetic, gritty aesthetic, setting it apart from other 1980s action films. Real explosions made the action sequences pulse with danger and realism. Shocking Secret 13. Van Damme helped rewrite key fight scenes. Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't just an actor. He actively contributed to the choreography and staging of fight sequences. When the original script had awkward or repetitive combat, Van Damme suggested improvisations, adjustments, and alternate moves to enhance authenticity and visual excitement. His expertise in martial arts allowed him to foresee angles, timing, and camera placement to maximize impact. Directors sometimes clashed with him over creative control, but his suggestions often improved the overall quality. Crew members recall intense brainstorming sessions where Van Damme demonstrated moves on set, convincing even skeptical producers to adapt scenes. The result was dynamic, believable combat that matched the film's gritty aesthetic. Fans often praise the inventive, high-energy fight sequences, unaware that many were partially rewritten on the fly by the star himself. Van Damme's hands-on approach ensured the martial arts sequences became the defining highlight of the movie. Van Damme rewrote fights on the spot, turning stunts into cinematic gold. Shocking Secret 14. Hidden messages in set design. Astute fans have noticed subtle, hidden messages scattered throughout Cyborg's set design. Graffiti, posters, and debris sometimes included cryptic text or symbols referencing pop culture, political commentary, or inside jokes from the crew. These Easter eggs were added during set construction, often without the director's direct knowledge. Some messages commented on corporate greed, environmental decay, or societal collapse, tying into the film's dystopian themes. Crew members recall debates about how visible these details should be, balancing subtlety with artistic flair. These hidden elements rewarded attentive viewers, giving the movie depth beyond its action and martial arts spectacle. Decades later, fans have documented many of these Easter eggs online, showcasing how small touches contribute to world-building and thematic resonance. What appeared to be random debris and graffiti was carefully curated, turning Cyborg into a treasure trove of visual storytelling. Hidden set details added layers of meaning that most viewers didn't catch at first glance. Shocking Secret 15. A deleted scene could have changed everything. Cyborg had a pivotal scene removed during post-production that would have revealed a darker twist about Pearl Prophet's backstory. Test screenings suggested that audiences found it too bleak, potentially overshadowing the hero's journey and disrupting pacing. The scene involved intense confrontation, additional villain insight, and morally complex choices, offering a grimmer tone than the final cut. Its removal required re-editing surrounding sequences to maintain continuity. Cast and crew had mixed reactions, some regretting the cut, others relieved it streamlined the story. Though absent from theaters, hints of the deleted material remain in dialogue and set decoration, rewarding observant viewers. This choice shaped the film's final tone, balancing action, martial arts, and character arcs without alienating audiences. Fans have speculated for years about the missing scene, adding mystique to the film's history and giving Cyborg an aura of untold stories lurking just beyond the edit. The deleted scene was dark, but its absence made the film more focused and action-driven. Shocking Secret 16. The villain's look was inspired by real guerrilla fighters. The film's main antagonist, Fender Tremolo, had a look heavily inspired by real-life guerrilla fighters and mercenaries. Costume designers studied photographs, documentaries, and military manuals to give him authentic battle-worn armor, weapons, and accessories. Prosthetics and makeup added scars, burns, and dirt to enhance realism. Actors were encouraged to adopt rigid, disciplined stances, mirroring trained fighters. These choices gave the villain a tangible presence, making him more menacing and believable. The attention to detail wasn't just aesthetic, it helped the cast respond naturally during fight sequences and high-tension scenes. Cinematographers used lighting and camera angles to emphasize the realistic texture and weight of his armor, adding depth to the dystopian environment. Fans often remember the villain's imposing appearance as one of the film's most striking features, not realizing how much research and inspiration went into creating it. The villain's look combined realism and menace, elevating the stakes for every confrontation. Shocking secret. 17. On-set injuries were kept secret. Several cast and stunt performers sustained injuries during filming, from sprained ankles to burns and lacerations, but the production kept most of these incidents under wraps. Studio executives feared that reports of accidents might scare audiences, delay production, or attract negative press. Injured performers were treated on set, often returning to work quickly to maintain the shooting schedule. Van Damme and key cast members also took precautions while performing dangerous stunts, though minor accidents still occurred. Crew members recalled tense moments when injuries were hidden from cameras and visitors to avoid scrutiny. These hidden hardships contributed to the realism and intensity of the final film, as every fight, chase, and stunt was executed with genuine effort under physically demanding conditions. Today, fans marvel at the high-energy sequences, unaware of the risks the team endured to pull them off. On-set injuries were quietly managed, adding authentic intensity to the action sequences. Shocking secret. 18. Improvised dialogue became iconic lines. Several memorable lines in Cyborg were not scripted, but improvised during filming. Van Damme and supporting actors would riff on the dialogue between takes, sometimes adding humor, grit, or intensity. One famous line during a fight scene was entirely spontaneous, delivered with such conviction that the director kept it in the final cut. These improvisations added authenticity to character interactions and elevated the movie's energy. Crew members noted that Van Damme's martial arts expertise allowed him to anticipate dialogue in the heat of action, creating fluid, natural exchanges. Some improvised moments later became fan favorites, quoted in discussions and reviews decades after release. The freedom to experiment on set contributed to Cyborg's enduring cult status and helped the film feel alive rather than overly choreographed. Improvised lines gave characters spontaneity and made the film's dialogue memorable for fans. Shocking secret. 19. The original ending was darker. The movie's original ending was far darker than what audiences eventually saw. The initial cut included more graphic violence, ambiguous moral choices, and unresolved tension, emphasizing the bleakness of the post-apocalyptic world. Test audiences reportedly reacted negatively, prompting the studio to demand a rewrite and reshoot a more hopeful conclusion. The final version retained action and heroism while softening the grim tone. Deleted scenes showing moral ambiguity and sacrifices were archived but never officially released. Directors and cast expressed mixed feelings, appreciating the tighter, more marketable ending while regretting the loss of narrative depth. Film historians argue that the darker original ending would have transformed Cyborg into a more thought-provoking dystopian tale. Fans continue to speculate about what could have been, adding to the film's mystique and allure. The darker original ending could have made the story far more haunting and complex. Shocking secret. 20. Cult status emerged despite studio doubts. Cyborg was initially viewed skeptically by studios, who worried the post-apocalyptic story and martial arts focus wouldn't resonate with audiences. Marketing emphasized action over narrative depth, and early reviews were mixed. Despite this, the film quickly found a devoted fan base through home video and late-night screenings. Viewers admired Van Damme's martial arts, the gritty production design, and the dystopian aesthetic. Word of mouth transformed the movie into a cult classic, celebrated for its energy, practical effects, and memorable performances. Over decades, fans have dissected stunts, Easter eggs, and improvised lines, keeping Cyborg alive in pop culture. What was once doubted by the studio now enjoys enduring recognition, proving that unconventional choices and daring stunts can carve out a lasting legacy. Today, it's considered a benchmark for 1980s martial arts and action cinema. Studio skepticism couldn't stop Cyborg from becoming a beloved cult classic. Cyborg wasn't just another Van Damme vehicle, it was survival, on set, on screen, and behind the scenes. Beneath the kicks and chaos was a story about desperation, creativity, and the will to finish what no one believed could be done. Maybe that's why it endures, because it proves that art can rise from ruin. If this revealed a truth about Cyborg you never knew, drop your favorite secret in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from films that refused to die. Remember, even broken worlds can still fight back.